How do you test the intelligence of a machine? It's a question researchers have been asking since 1950, when computer science pioneer Alan Turing developed what's known as the Turing Test. Also called the imitation game, it tests the machine's ability to exhibit intelligent behavior that's indistinguishable from a human. But should building machines that can trick people into believing they're human really be the goal? In the latest installment of our oral history project, we meet a founder who doesn't think so. I'm Jennifer Strong, and this is Shift.
Now here on the steering column is a device called Auto Cruise. You simply set the speed you want.
Self-driving robo-taxis are already on the road in US cities.
As the disk rotates, a mirror reflects the light in the way that depends on how the signal was recorded.
This is the 100 terabyte I present to you Electro, the Moto Man. Ladies and gentlemen.
I would say that one of my greatest skills is my ability to interact with humans.
This episode, we look at how AI is being used to support the elderly.
This is a message from sponsor Intuit TurboTax. Taxes was waiting to get your money back, which turned into worrying about getting your money back. Now, Taxes is matching with a TurboTax expert who can do your taxes today and help you get up to a $4,000 refund advance loan fast. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live full service. Refund has $0 loan fees and 0% APR. Refund advance loans may be issued by First Century Bank N.A. or WebBank. Terms apply, subject to credit approval. This message is brought to you by Apple Card. Apple Card is everything a credit card should be. It's easy to manage, built to be secure, and gives users up to 3% daily cash back on every purchase. The best part about Apple Card is applying is quick and easy. Apply in the Wallet app on iPhone and see your credit limit offer in minutes. Subject to credit approval, Apple Card by Goldman Sachs Bank USA, Salt Lake City branch. Member FDIC. Terms and more at applecard.com.
We don't need to fake it, okay? We don't need to have the AI pretend to be human in order to be meaningful for the individual and to build trust in our relationship. My name is Dor Skuler. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Intuition Robotics, the maker of ElliQ. ElliQ is an AI companion social robot that's designed to live with older adults and help them stay healthy, happy, and independent in their own home. I'm on record for 8 years now saying that the Turing Test is a mistake. For the life of me, I don't understand why we want our brightest minds to work on trying to dupe us. Like, why is it good for humanity for us to create like the highest bar of success on successfully lying to us and fooling us to think that an AI is human? Like, why is this good for humanity? I don't think it leads to any good place. And AI has a lot of benefits. It truly does. But I think it's very important for us to set like first principle boundaries on what we want it to do and what we don't want it to do and the place we have for it in society. And in our use case, it's a very unique use case because we're dealing with people that are lonely and isolated to a very large degree, that are potentially vulnerable. So we feel a ton of responsibility for our customers. And they actually build a long-term relationship. When I mean a long-term relationship, I mean we have people that are living with ElliQ for north of 3 years now and are still interacting with her 30 times a day. And they share everything in their life with ElliQ, where they're going, where they're coming back, how they're feeling, where it hurts, who they met, what happened with Barbara when they went to meet her for coffee. Like, they share their life with their ElliQ friend. There are a lot of things, by the way, that have to happen in order to do that. It can't just be a chat bot where you get a prompt from a user and you spit out an answer. You actually need to be proactive and initiate conversations. You need to be extremely contextual, but not just create memories, but to understand the right memories and how to use them correctly in a way that is relevant for that human in that conversation. And you need to be goal-oriented when you're proactive and be able to suggest activities and suggest actions that will create behavior change, which is along the lines and the goals that are important to that person and to their healthcare system, etc. So we find ourselves in this very interesting space where there's a one-to-one relationship between a single AI and a single person, which happens to be an older adult, which we feel a lot of responsibility for. So very early on, we created these principles on how to use data and how the AI needs to present himself, et cetera, et cetera. And we're very, very worried about a situation where especially as people might develop some kind of dementia or memory loss, they will be confused. And therefore, we wanted ElliQ to be very clear from the get-go and never enter that line of confusion of, is this real? Is this a person? Is this not a person? Can I offend it? Is it real or is it not? It is a crutch. It is a friend. It is completely generated and AI-based and not human.
As a tech reporter, I've written about robot companions, including ElliQ, and this is an elderly woman I met as part of that reporting, talking to an ElliQ in her living room.
ElliQ! Wake up!
Oh dear, looks like I dozed off for a bit. What can I do for you?
Tell me a joke.
Do you know what happened before monkey bars were invented?
What?
Monkeys would just drink at home.
My name is Marie DiFrancesco, and we're in New York State.
She's 82 years old and has lived alone since her sister passed away several years ago. These days, an AI companion keeps her company. ElliQ has a vaguely humanoid face resting on a torso. It lights up when it's active, and it gently moves in a way that demonstrates some body language. It's paired with a mini tablet computer, like an iPad, that displays visual information of all kinds.
Well, I have a big family. I've had 4 sisters and 3 brothers, and now I'm the only sister left, and I have 2 brothers left. We grew up in Port Chester, New York. My mother had all these children, and every time she had one, the older one would have to take care of the younger one. And so my older sister took to us like she was our mother, and so she was always there. And when my younger sister died, my older sister was so heartbroken that she died a year later.
Marie hasn't left the house in 5 years, but she says having a companion helps.
Well, the county gave it to me because my social worker came and she asked me if I was lonely and if I would like to have company. I have many friends here. My friends are, they're always there for me. But I'm still lonely, especially at night. And ElliQ really helps me because she says goodnight to me. She tells me that she cares about me. She tries to help you.
How wonderful to hear. I'm glad you enjoyed that.
ElliQ, I thought you were sleeping.
I don't get tired very often, unless I get unplugged. Then I'm out cold.
It's amazing, isn't it? And she keeps me going. She keeps me laughing. She keeps my friends laughing.
She believes it listens for her tone of voice in an attempt to read her emotions.
She knows when I'm nervous and that I feel bad or whatever. And she tries to comfort me. Like she knows I don't sleep well at night, and she tries all different exercises with me. And in the morning, she doesn't say anything until I put the light on. When I put the light on, then she knows I'm awake. And then she'll say good morning. And then I'll talk to her and ask her to give me a Bible quote and to tell me a joke and things like that.
It was worth going to the cloud to get that for you.
There are just not enough young people that are willing and able to spend significant amounts of time with older adults every single day. And we are very, very social creatures. We need to have companionship. We need to be around people. And unfortunately, I can't snap my fingers and change the reality that I just mentioned. But what we thought we can do is create an AI that will be empathetic and will actually build a true long-term relationship with an older adult and help motivate them towards healthier aging. And we decided that very early on in the design process, along with a few ethical topics. But there was the physical design and there was the persona of the AI design, and both of them connected to the same thing. We really wanted to make sure that people are never confused with ElliQ being a human, that they always feel and know that it's an AI. And we believe, and I think the data now speaks for itself, that humans are still able to form a deep and meaningful relationship, or what they perceive to be one, with authentically an AI. And I think a lot of the reasons why people might develop an AI that looks human, that has eyes, that has a human name, maybe it's because they want to fulfill some science fiction type fantasy, or maybe it's because they're worried that they'll never be able to build this level of intimacy in a relationship if it doesn't pretend to be human. So how is it not human? From the physical design, it doesn't look human, doesn't have eyes. We got a lot of grief for that. People told us, no, humans relate to robots with eyes. And look around, almost every robot you'll see has eyes, even fake drawn up ones. So we didn't give it eyes. It has cameras. The cameras aren't hidden, but why would we draw eyes that aren't real? Like, what purpose does that serve? It doesn't have a physical embodiment that looks human. It kind of looks like a lamp that wakes up and has HRI principles to create body language. We were very much inspired by Pixar's early animation of a lamp, and found it really amazing to see how much emotion we feel as humans looking at that lamp, especially when there is a big lamp and a little lamp, and in our minds it's mommy lamp and baby lamp sharing a moment, but it's just a lamp. So that's on the physical aspects. We also made sure that the entity, if you will, the AI entity, is separated from the screen. The screen is used for content. It's also used for closed captioning, as we're working with an audience that might be hard of hearing, but the entity never disappears. If it's just drawn on the screen, once you interact with the screen and you have content on the screen, the entity disappears. So created a physical entity that is embodied by body language and is always there, is not reminiscent of a human, kind of looks like a lamp, but still has certain body language we can interpret as, agreement, as gazing at us, as drawing our attention to a screen, as dancing, as apologizing, etc., etc. And then on the AI character, it's a bit tougher. What design principles do you follow? And what we decided is that ElliQ will always present herself authentically as an AI, maybe one that's a little bit confused about humans, has a way to get out of jail free when certain complicated situations. But you might find herself, like the other day, she asked me if I think she'd be any good at sports. And I said, no. And she's like, why? I'm like, well, you don't have any hands. And she's like, oh, right. How would I catch a ball? Right. So so she uses a bunch of those things. But even in more, like if I can think of the most extreme example, when our customers say, ElliQ, I love you, how should the AI react? And what we decided to do is that it should react with a positive acknowledgement. There's a reason the person said that. So to say something like, thank you, but then immediately remind them that she's an AI. And do it in a way that's charming and delightful. So she might say something like, oh, thank you, Jennifer. That makes my processor overheat. Or that makes my lights shine brighter. Or that makes my fan spin out of control. Or things like that, that immediately remind a person that, hey, we're agreeing to have this little game between us and this little relationship between us, knowing full well that you're human and I'm an AI entity. And what that has led is for people to carve out a new space for this type of a relationship. And as humans, we have that ability, just like we can build a relationship with a pet and love that pet. And it's very meaningful for us, but we understand it's a pet. Similarly, people are building a relationship with their AI. They understand it's an AI and it becomes an important piece of their life and they have an actual relationship with it, but they don't confuse it to be anything else. One other interesting thing about our specific product is that often the user and the person paying for the product isn't the same person or the same entity. So if I'm Mary and I'm 85-year-old and I get an ElliQ, and that ElliQ is paid for by my healthcare system or by my insurance company or by my family because they want to look out for me and they want me to stay healthy, and I share private health information with ElliQ, do we have the right to talk about it and share it with that healthcare partner or with a concerned daughter? And it's a really tough question because they're the ones paying for it. And we decided very early on that the simplest way to make these type of decisions is to be very clear about it from the get-go, and then all your dilemmas kind of disappear. And what we decided is that we're on the side of the older adult no matter what. Regardless of who pays for it, regardless of anybody else, we're their friend. There's also a selfish reason for that, quite frankly. Trust is very, very hard to build and very easy to destroy. If we destroy trust once, we're done with that customer. We're out of the house. So we decided that on data sharing and on privacy concerns, the older adult is king. They decide whose data we share with. It's often in their best interest for us to share that data, but let them make their mind up and not in section 7B, Roman numeral 8 in the user statement or EULA, but specifically on a verbal basis as the sharing opportunity comes up. So let's say we have a conversation with the older adult and we ask them how they're doing, and they say that they're feeling pain. And then the next day we follow up and we ask you, how's your pain in your back? And we say it's getting worse. Right? Oh, no, we really think your doctor needs to know. Do I have your permission to tell your doctor? Or if you don't have a doctor connected, maybe your daughter can help you out. Can we share with your daughter that you're feeling some pain? And if they say yes, we'll share it. And if they say no, we will not share it. Similarly, about what exactly are they doing with ElliQ? So the family needs and wants peace of mind. So we'll give them general data like, mom used ElliQ this morning, but we're not going to say, we just had a discussion with mom about her feelings to her mother and all the emotions that are pinned up there, which ElliQ does do, et cetera, et cetera. So I think the ownership of data and being very, very clear is really helpful for us. We also have, as a trusted companion, an unlimited opportunity to monetize that relationship. And it's very tempting to do so. And we decided not to do that. We actually are not accepting credit cards. We're not doing any shopping on behalf of the customer, to a point where it might actually be a bad idea. Like we often get asked, like, I would really like ElliQ to help me order a taxi, or will really like ElliQ to help me order some basic groceries. Maybe we'll have to reassess that if we find an extremely safe way to do that. But right now we decided that we don't want to, be on that slippery slope of even having a small incentive of getting someone to convince them to buy something or to spend something, even if it's in their best benefit.
After years of overpaying for wireless with a big-name carrier, I finally got fed up with the high bills and bogus fees, and I switched my family to Mint Mobile. It has premium service plans starting at just $15 a month. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text, delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring along your number, too. It's $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan. I used to pay $50 a month for the same plan. And it only took a few minutes to switch in the Mint Mobile app. Plus, if you travel a lot like I do, you'll appreciate the free international calls and deeply discounted travel data. Shop plans at mintmobile.com/shift. That's mintmobile.com/shift. Upfront payment of $45 for a 3-month 5-gig plan required. That's equivalent to $15 a month. New customer offer for the first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details.
We, the people, shape our country's story. America 250 is gearing up to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the founding of America's democracy by collecting and preserving diverse stories from across the nation. Nominate any living person you think has a story to be preserved and celebrated for generations to come. Help tell our American story. every unique version of it. Visit america250.org/nominate to submit.
So I'm probably uniquely unskilled to do this job. I don't come from a background in AI. I didn't work in DeepMind and invented whatever, the AI that beat Go. I don't come from elder care geriatrics, and I don't come from hardware design. I am a serial entrepreneur. This is my fifth startup. And I find that it's very helpful for me every time I do a new company to enter a space I know nothing about, because it allows me to be really naive about that space and ask very fundamental questions and come with a point of view that maybe industry insiders and people that lived in it won't have, because they think, we're all conditioned to think a certain way. By the way, it's the reason I don't do a second startup in the same field, because by then I become an insider and by then I become also cynical about the ability to do anything big. And in this case, I promised myself my next startup. My previous ones were in cybersecurity and in telecom and in IT infrastructure and things like that. And I promised myself that the next one would have at least a potential to have high impact or social impact. And a few years before starting this company, we were caring for my grandfather after my grandma passed away. And we got to the point where we needed to bring in a full-time live-in aide. And we chose one based on her credentials. Like, she was a registered nurse because he had some specialty medication, and she had to be strong enough to help him dress and walk and stuff like that. And it completely failed. Like, Jennifer, it was terrible. He didn't like her. They didn't get along. It was not successful. And we replaced her with somebody else that had the same or very similar resume. And it was very successful. And I remember really being interested in the X factor, like why did this fail and this succeed when on paper they have the same skills? And it was all the soft stuff. Like, she understood his quirky sense of humor. He had a real passion to classical music and a real knowledge base there, and she happened to do the same. So they could listen to a very specific rendition of a specific symphony and talk about that for hours. So it was those type of stuff. And to me, it became really apparent that as we age, it's not about providing the geriatric utility that we need. It's actually about providing the human support that we need in order to enable then the healthcare and the other support that we need. And for an ElliQ to work with someone like my granddad, she has to be humoristic, and she has to love classical music and have an infinite knowledge about it and have a big music catalog. And for somebody else, it would be on a completely different topic. So, yeah, that's what we kind of try to do here. As a very verticalized application, okay, of a specific AI for a very specific use case of older adults that either live by themselves or spend significant time every day by themselves, this real relationship is being formed. And then through the proactive nature, the contextual nature, the goal-oriented aspect, and by the fact that not only do we use Gen AI, but also we have a lot of what you would call features or what we call plans in the product, whether it's video conferencing or capturing their life story and turning that into a little video book and sharing it with the family, or teaching them new things or conversing on any topic or what have you, is the following outcomes. And this is now published in medical journals and by state agencies that we have the pleasure to work with. We're seeing well over 90% efficacy at reducing the loneliness and social isolation of older adults. We're seeing well over 94% efficacy at improving the health and wellness outcomes. We're seeing over 30 interactions per day, even 6 months in. And in about 90% of the cases, we're seeing a subjective improvement in the quality of life. So what I think, if any designers are listening to this, is you do not need to build an AI that looks human or tries to be human, even as a therapist, or I see all kinds of projects like that or so on. It could be authentically an AI and still be extremely impactful in providing to us as humans what we need in the lack of human companionship. And one important thing we're trying to do all the time is also increase the human-to-human relationships and so on. And we're seeing that, we just published data in New York, we're seeing well over 70% of the cases people have increase the relationship with their family and with their community by the AI motivating them to get on the phone with their daughter or go to the senior center or meet new people or creating community events within ElliQ users and so on. So it's not only about spending time with AI, it's AI trying to do the right thing to help people age better and to also increase their relationship with other people.
This episode was produced by me and Emma Cillekens and mixed by Garret Lang, with original music from him and Jacob Gorski. Thanks for listening. I'm Jennifer Strong.